Now, from the Low Country's news leader, this is Live 5 News.
Love is always stronger than hate. So if we just love the way my mom would, then the hate won't be anywhere close to what love is.
Today marks 4 years since Senator Clemente Pinckney, Ethel Lance, DePayne Middleton Doctor, Daniel Simmons, Cynthia Graham Hurd, Myra Thompson, Sharonda Singleton, Susie Jackson, and Tywanza Sanders were gunned down inside Mother Emanuel Church.
And today we honor their lives and their legacies that live on through their families. We will have team coverage throughout the morning, but we want to get you started with a look at today's forecast.
Meteorologist Joey Sovine in the First Alert Weather Center. And Joey, another warm and muggy day ahead.
Yeah, we've started to see that humidity come back, and we're off to a nice start this morning overlooking the downtown area. Clear sky starts, sunrise about 10 minutes from now on a morning where the temperatures warm up very quickly. We got a little break from the humidity and the warmth over the past couple of days, but you'll feel it back out there this morning. Most of you starting out in the 70s. Now, we don't expect much, if any, in the way of rainfall today. There could be 1 or 2 spotty showers. watch this from lunchtime into the afternoon along the sea breeze headed inland. But the big story today, temperatures back up to around 90 degrees, 87 at noon, 91 this afternoon. Take the umbrellas just in case. A couple spotty showers or storms certainly possible. Let's go to Abby O'Brien, see how that morning commute looks for you here on our Monday. Abby.
Thank you, Joey. A couple things to talk about if you are heading out on the road. One is a crash we've been watching for a while now that's out on Carolina Avenue, blocking the road in both directions. We are told this is a crash with the utility pole and blocking the road from Central Avenue to Highway 17A. I just checked online. It looks like about 250 homes are without power in that area right now, so we'll continue to bring you more information there. If you need to head from Central Avenue to Highway 17A, you can take Parkwood Drive. There are a couple ways to get around that spot. Also, we're seeing some slightly slow speeds heading up towards the top of the Wando Bridge from Daniel Island as crews are working on the median there. You may see some lane closures. That is expected to wrap up shortly.
Today marks 4 years since a white supremacist opened fire at Mother Emanuel AME Church in downtown Charleston in a hate-filled crime that killed 9 black churchgoers.
It's a day that we here in Charleston and those around South Carolina and the nation will never forget. We have team coverage this morning as we honor the Emanuel 9. Rob Way is on James Island, where the Emanuel documentary will be shown today.
But first, we want to go to Alyssa Holmes, who is outside Mother Emanuel this morning. And Alyssa, you got the chance to speak with one of the victims' families.
Now that's right, Kyle. I did speak with the family of Tywanza Sanders, healing from the pain of what happened inside this church 4 years ago. It's a task for all of the families involved, but they've all dedicated their time to making sure that those 9 lives heal the community in some way. The family of Tywanza Sanders, who was 26 years old when this happened, they've started the Tywanza Sanders Legacy Foundation. Now that foundation provides college scholarships to students across the Low Country. His family and friends say that education was one of his passions, and making sure that all students have the opportunity to pursue higher education is something that he would have wanted. Now, his father says that's something that he instilled in all of his children, education.
If they didn't understand a word, I wouldn't make them go to the dictionary. I wouldn't tell them what the word means. And I think from that, he grasps that the kids need education.
This year, the Tywanza Sanders Legacy Foundation, they're going to be awarding $9,000 worth of scholarships. Reporting live from downtown Charleston, Alyssa Holmes, Live 5 News.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. And we will check in with Rob Way in just a few minutes with details on when and where you can check out a special documentary of the Emanuel 9, which was produced by NBA star Steph Curry and Academy Award-winning actress Viola Davis. And we'll also have details on some of the other events planned this week to honor the Emanuel 9.
The self-professed white supremacist Dylan Roof was 21 years old when he entered that church 4 years ago. After leaving the church, he was arrested the next morning just outside of Charlotte. In December 2016, he was convicted of 33 counts of federal hate crimes for the deaths of the church members, as well as attempted murder of others who survived. Roof has been sentenced to death and is currently in prison in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Developing this morning, new charges are set to be filed against the wife of a missing Murrells Inlet man. Authorities have now opened this case up as a death investigation. Irene Clodfelter now faces pending charges of desecration of human remains and accessory after the fact of murder out of Horry County. Saturday, Clodfelter was arrested for obstruction of justice charges from Georgetown County Sheriff's Office. She told authorities she last saw her husband, 85-year-old Hubert Clodfelter, back in March. Deputies say Hubert's daughter contacted them in March with concerns that she hadn't been able to reach her father for almost 2 years. She told deputies that every time she called his cell phone, his wife would answer and give an excuse of why he wasn't available. The Georgetown County Sheriff's Office and Horry County Police say the death investigation is active and ongoing.
Right now, 2 people are behind bars for vandalizing a Confederate monument in downtown Charleston. Charles Chandler and Kaylee Roberts have been arrested for vandalizing the Confederate Defenders Monument in White Point Gardens using what authorities are calling a red paint-like substance. Both are charged with damage to real property. Police were called about the vandalized statue around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Witnesses were able to give officers a description of the suspects. Police later found Chandler and Roberts on Murray Boulevard just west of King Street and arrested them. The city's Parks Department was notified and that monument has since been cleaned.
Coming up, a man is dead after an off-duty officer opened fire inside a Costco, and now we're learning more about the victim.
And we are live on air and online. Make sure to tune in behind the scenes for our Facebook Live. Just search Live 5 News.
We have new information this morning as authorities in the Dominican Republic say they're getting closer to arresting the person who ordered the shooting of baseball star David Ortiz. Nearly a dozen suspects have been arrested for their involvement in that shooting last week. Ortiz was sitting on a crowded patio bar when a gunman walked in from the street and shot Ortiz in the lower back. Police say the person who ordered the shooting paid the would-be assassins nearly $8,000. Prosecutors say the suspect will spend 40 years behind bars. In California, police are continuing to search for evidence and go through video camera footage from a shooting at a Costco. Los Angeles police say an off-duty officer shot and killed a man after authorities say he was attacked inside the store Friday night. Police say the assault was unprovoked and led the officer to firing his weapon, striking a 32-year-old Kenneth French and 2 of his family members. According to the family, French was nonverbal and had an intellectual disability with the mental capacity of a teenager.
In Iowa, a shocking mystery for police after 4 people have been found dead inside their home. Police in West Des Moines say a man, woman, and 2 boys aged 15 and 10 were all found in the home Saturday dead after being shot. 4 other family members who were staying in the home as guests found the bodies. One of them ran outside to look for help where they stopped someone walking to call 911. Autopsies are being done to figure out how they all died. Cleanup continues this morning in Indiana after at least 8 tornadoes ripped through the state. More than 70 homes have been damaged and at least 3 destroyed. The National Weather Service says one of the tornadoes was an EF2 with winds between 120 and 130 miles per hour.
You never think it's going to happen, you know. I just feel grateful that I'm alive. That's the main thing. I can replace all this. I don't know what else to do than just start cleaning up, you know. I mean, what can you do? You don't know how many times I sat here and I weathered the storms.
Number of confirmed tornadoes is expected to increase as experts continue to survey the area and the damage.
The Senate's top Democrat is calling on the Federal Aviation Administration to require all helicopters to carry flight data recorders, commonly known as a black box. Senator Chuck Schumer call for action comes after a helicopter crashed on the roof of a Manhattan skyscraper, killing the pilot. That helicopter did not have a black box or a cockpit voice recorder. These devices will monitor altitude and other instrumentation and record radio transmissions and sounds inside the cockpit. The FAA says it is helping with the investigation into the crash. Today marks the 25th anniversary of the infamous O.J. Simpson Bronco chase. A manhunt for the former football star began shortly after he was charged with the murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman. Within hours, authorities started this slow chase of the white Bronco driven by one of Simpson's friends. O.J. was in the back, reportedly holding a gun and threatening to kill himself. Simpson was eventually arrested and found not guilty of those killings.
Caught on camera, a group of golfers and construction workers rescued a man from his SUV just moments before it caught fire. This all happened near Nashville last week. Police say the driver began sneezing, which caused him to run off the road, hit a ditch, then flip over. The golfers and construction team ran over, started pushing the SUV upright. You see it right here. After a few times, they were able to get it up and get the man out right before it caught fire. The driver walked away with no injuries. Krispy Kreme rolling out a new take on an old classic, and soon you'll get to try it for free. The donut chain is debuting the new original filled donut today. The treat takes the chain's iconic glazed donut and fills it with either classic cream or chocolate cream. You can snag one of these for free this Saturday as the company celebrates giving away more than 1 million free donuts on National Donut Day, which was last week.
Make plans to get to the theater today to see the special Mother Emanuel documentary. Rob Way has details next.
And the events planned this week to remember the 9 Charleston firefighters who were killed in the Sofa Superstore fire 12 years ago.
We are continuing our team coverage of the Mother Emanuel tragedy that happened 4 years ago today. And today, a documentary honoring the victims will be released at select theaters nationwide. The film's producers include NBA star Steph Curry and Academy Award winner Viola Davis. Rob Way is live at the Terrace Theater this morning on James Island, which is just one location where moviegoers will be able to see that documentary.
Kyle, the documentary is called Emanuel, and it's set to air tonight at 7 o'clock for the first time ever for folks in the public. Now, the movie itself is set to honor those that died and talk to those family members of the victims. That is one part of this documentary, is what it will be featuring. Now, it'll also be looking at some of the things along the lines of the history of race relations in Charleston, the significance and impact of the church itself, and the hope that somehow emerges in its aftermath. All of the producers' proceeds from this film will also go to the victims' families and the survivors. If you're interested in seeing it, you can do so at any of these theaters tonight at 7. The Regal in North Charleston is the theater right next to City Hall. The Movies 8 Somerville is on Latson Road, and the Terrace Theater is right here on James Island, across the street from the Charleston Poorhouse. The movie will also be back in theaters on Wednesday for the last time only, and that's again going to be at 7 o'clock. And I was just looking at the door here. The 7 o'clock showing is already sold out, but there are still tickets available here at Terrace Theater for the 9:15 showing. Live on James Island, Rob Way, Live 5 News.
Rob, thank you. Tomorrow, we will hear from the family of the late Susie Jackson as they'll reveal plans for the Susie Jackson Freedom Memorial Garden. The garden will be located in the back corner of the Charleston County Library property in downtown Charleston, which Jackson would use as a shortcut to get to the church. We know the design will include a circular sidewalk that will be surrounded by flowers with trees at each corner. Tomorrow, Jackson's family will also unveil the Susie Jackson Way Street sign that will be at the corner of Chapel and Alexander Streets.
And you still have time to donate to our book drive honoring one of the Mother Emanuel victims, Cynthia Graham Hurd. She worked for the library system for 31 years before she was killed. The book drive runs through the end of the month, and we have a list of locations where you can drop off new and gently used books on our website. All of those books will be going to children in reading partners to help enhance their reading skills. And you can learn more about the commemoration events taking place this week to honor the Emanuel 9 on our website. As well, you can look for a link under the big red box.
Tomorrow, we will also pause to remember the 9 Charleston firefighters who died fighting a massive furniture store fire 12 years ago. It was a hot summer evening in 2007 when a fire broke out at the furniture store and warehouse on Savannah Highway. The impact of the fire caused the roof to collapse, with 9 firefighters still trapped inside. The Charleston Fire Department will commemorate the day with a ceremony at the Charleston 9 Memorial Park at the site of the fire at 7 p.m. Starting at midnight tonight, firefighters will stand watch at the site for 24 hours.
Today, the Lowcountry is remembering the Emanuel 9. 4 years after the tragic shooting at Mother Emanuel in downtown Charleston, it is a day that's forever changing this city. This morning and throughout the day, we will be bringing you the latest coverage on the events that are happening to remember the victims, the survivors, and their families.
Rob Way has details on the special screenings this week of the new Emanuel documentary. But first, we want to go to Alyssa Holmes, who is outside of Mother Emanuel Church.
Well, Michael, the pain caused by what happened behind the doors of this church 4 years ago is something that family members are trying to deal with every day. However, they have made it their mission to make sure that the legacies of those 9 people continue to be a positive influence here in the community. Now, Chaunte Sanders, he was the youngest victim in the shooting. He was 26 years old when it happens, and he's often regarded as the hero and helped save lives on that tragic day. Now, his family and friends, they've started a foundation in his name that provides educational opportunity. His father, Tyrone Sanders, says that work has been helpful and it's been inspiring, but he says he wishes that he could have done more.
Still listen to The Lion King, Endless Night. You know, it talks about, you know, your father wasn't there nowhere when he's crying out for help. It's hard for me to heal in the phantom that a guy done this to my son, my aunt, cousins, and the other 6. It's hard to heal.
And this year, the Chaunte Sanders Legacy Foundation will give away $9,000 worth of scholarships. Reporting live from downtown Charleston, Alyssa Holmes.
Alyssa, thank you. And it's hard to believe the shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church was 4 years ago. And today, a documentary looking at that day and the days that followed will be released. It will be playing in select theaters nationwide. Rob Way is live at Terrace Theater on James Island, which is one of the spots in the Lowcountry people will be able to see it. Rob?
Michael, the documentary is called Emanuel, and it's set to air tonight at 7 o'clock at this theater, along with 2 others here in the Charleston area. And it's also going to be airing at all theaters nationwide, at many of those select theaters nationwide. The more than hour-long film features interviews with the survivors and family members of the church shooting 4 years ago, and it aims at sharing the untold stories of them and the victims. The makers of the movie say Emanuel examines the history of race relations in Charleston, the significance and impact of the church, and the hope that somehow emerges in its aftermath. All of the producers' proceeds from this film will go to the victims' families and the survivors. If you're interested in seeing it, you can do so at any of these theaters tonight at 7. The Regal in North Charleston is the theater right next to City Hall. The Movies 8 Somerville is on Latson Road, and the Terrace Theater is right here on James Island, across the street from the Charleston Poorhouse. The movie will also be back in theaters on Wednesday at 7. Now, as for Terrace Theater, I was just looking at their door. The 7 o'clock showing is completely sold out, but the 9:15 still has some space tonight. Live on James Island, Rob Way, Live 5 News.
And you can find a full list of all the events happening over the coming days to honor the church and the Emanuel 9 on our website, live5news.com.